driven. Razorback talk. For the fans, by the fans. This is Inside the Hawg Pen with your hosts, Razorback Zach and Marcus MC Carlton. Oh boy, it's that time once again. Hello everybody and welcome to an all new episode of Inside the Hawg Pen. I am your host, Razorback Zach from the Central Arkansas Hawg Pen, and coming from parts unknown for the second time in 3 weeks, my buddy, my co-host, and the glue that has been proven to keep the whole damn thing together, Marcus MC Carlton. What's up, MC? Where are you at this week?
Hey man.
Do I need to have a sound cue ready?
Yeah, we did like the little
where in the world
is Carmen San Diego. We can do where in the world is MC.
Oh man, I gotta fix my hat here. It's going all kinds of crazy.
Now, parts unknown this week is the 7th floor of the Westin in downtown Kansas City.
No, any Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift sightings?
No.
Well, you shut that down quick, didn't you?
I was here Sunday for the game, and there were apparently a few Bears fans staying here at my hotel, which was fun in and of itself because it was like the perfect day for me NFL wise because I'm a Packers fan. So the Packers come back and won 18-17, and then the Bears got bleep stomped over about 10 minutes to that way, I think.
Right.
And it was a fun day, but the Bears fans, they were cool. They were, they're like, we're used to it.
Right. So I hope everybody had a great week. Look, if you guys are soft, if you guys are not thick-skinned, and I'm just gonna say it because I think my daughter's watching now, but if you guys get butt hurt easy, this is not the show for you. Okay, this is not the show for you. We're gonna be diving deep, and we're gonna be coming after. Talking about some heavy stuff. So if this show is not for the lighthearted, so just to give you a fair warning there. Hey, by the way, if you wouldn't mind, leave us a review. Tell us how we're doing. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. Throw a stone.
If I make you mad, we want to know.
We want to know, but we don't really care. Just gonna put it
I wasn't gonna say that, but but
hey, all right. So real quick, let's do a new segment, and it's kind of the tidbit information for the week. We're gonna call it Bacon Bits. Your first one is still the same. Arkansas is 14-0 when winning the turnover battle, 9-0 when generating 3 or more takeaways in the Pittman era. So that one's still the same. Since your second bacon bit. Since the start of the Pittman era, Arkansas defense has totaled 41 interceptions in 40 games, which is equal to third best in the SEC in that time span. KJ has thrown for at least one touchdown in 15 consecutive games under center. His 57 career passing touchdowns are tied for third in Razorback history. And your fourth down is KJ is tied with Matt Jones for first in touchdown responsibilities with 77. He's got 57 passing, 20 rushing. Matt Jones has 53 passing, 24 rushing. But here's the kicker. KJ has done it in 10 less games than Matt Jones did. And your extra point, MC, and this is I found interesting. The Razorbacks' trip to Arlington is their second of 4 consecutive SEC games away from Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium. This season marks the first time since 1925 that the Razorbacks, each of the first 4 non-conference games are played away from Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium. So that's your bacon bits. Okay, here comes the heavy stuff. And for that, I have to do this.
Let me talk to you.
All right. Here's the deal, folks. Here's the deal. All right. I get that you can be critical because we're all fans. All right. And this was going to be my final thought, but I had to put this at the top of the show because I'm hot, MC. I'm hot. Not as hot as you are on Twitter. We're going to get to that in a second. If you want to
Homes are
criticize,
smoking, baby.
if you want to criticize the play on the field, that's fine. You want to criticize the play from the conduct of the players on the field, that's fine. You want to even criticize the coaching that is being called during the game, that's fine. We're all entitled to criticize and voice your opinion. But what I don't appreciate and I don't like and I don't understand is going after them personally, players, coaches, whatever. Now the referees are free game. You know why? Hashtag screw you, Mark Earls. But MC, attacking a man based on the way he looks to the point that he shuts off his Twitter. These are the same fans that are going to bitch and complain, oh, we can't get a high-profile coach because you act like a bunch of wussy assholes. That's why you can't get a good coach. It's not about the money. It's because of the attitude of the fan base. They want to jump on Twitter, and they're infighting. I don't get it. Sorry. Sorry.
Peter Brady in the house.
Got to take a swig of water
Yeah.
for work, man.
Yeah. So here, I've been thinking about how I was going to approach this all day because I have two. It's almost going to sound hypocritical here, but follow me and let me explain it. Okay, first off, I don't agree with all the comments made about somebody's stature or their physique. Okay, my physique is less than be desired too. So, and that has nothing to do with the in-game stuff. My whole issue with Pittman deleting his Twitter was the timing of it. Okay, so follow me here. So we have the bad BYU loss, and that's what it was. I don't think anybody will argue with me on that. That was a bad loss.
Yeah.
After that, what was it? Was it like Tuesday or Wednesday? I think after that, I texted you, right? It was Wednesday because we were
right before we went on air. It happened right as we went on air.
Yeah. So right as we went on was when it happened because it threw our entire show rundown into chaos.
Those are always fun.
Oh, yeah. Hey, that's
anyway,
that's
go ahead, MC. Go ahead.
That's my problem with it. If you delete it prior to the first game or even after the first game,
nobody bats an eye.
Okay, because I have an addendum to that as well.
But here's something I just thought about too.
Yeah.
That was an hour before his radio show.
Yes.
Okay, so add that on top of it. But what's your addendum? And we'll jump further. Hey, if you guys, by the way, if you guys want in on this and you guys want to give your take, leave us a question or comment on the Harris Made Chef Services live fan feedback because it is wide open tonight. So go ahead, MC. I'm sorry.
Okay, so to kind of finish my point, and I've posed this question. If you've been following my Twitter, I've been all over the place. And I even threw this question out to Mike Irwin when he was talking about Pittman deleting Twitter. As far as I know, there's no clause in his contract that says he has to get on Twitter after a bad loss.
No.
He's a smart enough dude that he's going to know that there's going to be a lot of stuff that he doesn't want to see. So why even subject yourself to that?
I mean, here's the thing. I mean, Bobby Petrino didn't have Twitter. I mean, was it even around then? I don't think it was around then, was it?
I think it came in. I think it was here when the motorcycle wreck happened because that's how I found out about the motorcycle wreck.
But in any case, though, MC, I mean, it looks bad, and we have no idea the real story, as Paul Harvey would say, the rest of the story. We don't have those facts. All we see is the perception. And my father taught me a person's perception of you is their reality of you.
That's fair. Yeah, okay. That's fair.
But the thing about it is I don't understand. I look, I'm going to criticize Sam Pittman all day long. Okay. The burning of the timeouts, the 26th freaking penalty. I'm trying to stop the F-bomb.
Yeah.
The all these other undisciplined actions on these that this team is causing in 4 games. We've got every right to criticize those. Their plays on the field.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's up, boys?
Hey, D-Mad in the house.
How y'all doing?
We're doing, man. We're doing.
We'll get to you. We'll get to you after the break, D-Mad. It's one of those that it just.
Well, and the other thing that I'll say about, first off, he doesn't have to read it. I'm not saying that it's right that it's out there. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying he's a smart dude. He knows it's going to be out there. So why openly subject yourself to it? I don't think Dave Van Horn is going to go on Twitter after they lost opening day last year. I don't think he's going to go on there after the TCU series, after the regional in Fayetteville. And if he does, I mean, he doesn't seem like the type that he's going to let it bother him. Or if he does, he's not going to say anything about it. That was another thing that I kind of cringed at a little bit, was when Pittman was talking about how much it bothered him. Because to me, that's feeding the trolls. You're pouring gas on the fire.
Well, okay, but if you the explanation, and here lately he looks. I'm gonna say it.
Yeah,
because I'm a fan. He looks kind of checked out.
I agree.
The look on his face, he looks kind of, and some of his answers, he looks kind of checked out. All right, let me run over here to the Harris Smith Chef Services live fan feedback.
Yeah, comments are blowing up, man.
I've lost track. Woo-wee. Margot Katie is in the house. Katie,
that's not cool.
Hits it right on the head.
As a fat person myself, yeah, it's not cool.
I mean, why? You know, everybody on the, we need to do better. We need to treat people better. Then stop freaking fat shaming people. It's that simple. Let me turn myself down because I feel like I'm cutting in and out here. Chuck Pendergrass, the internet has made people feel tougher because they can hide behind a keyboard.
100%.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
99% of you that use Twitter, I don't have an issue with. Okay? I don't have an issue with. That 1% that wants to run and it's the ones that don't use their real names on Twitter. It's the ones that don't have a true profile picture. Right. Those are always the ones that are trolls.
Now, I do have my dog as my profile picture, but that's because he's.
But everybody, but see, everybody that knows you as MC because of the show.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't understand why we're looking at the outward appearance of somebody. Okay. Sean Bailey says, much improved O-line play, one punt. 31 points on the road, lost a slugfest to another good team in their home stadium. It happens. That's life. Not excuses. It's not moral victories to put your hard hat on, go to work, and improve without going chicken little over every little single mistake that was made. Can I print this and frame it?
I mean, that's fair point. That's fair point. I would say I would, to counter that, I would say the 12 penalties were bigger than better O-line play, one punt, 31 points. Because, I mean, if you go back to I think it may have been the first penalty of the game. Arkansas has got a 3rd and goal from the one. And we jump offside, we jump the snap.
Didn't it end up being a 3rd and goal from the 20 or 15?
Yeah, we had the false start, which punched us back, and then we had, I don't remember what the other one was, but it ended up like a what should have been 7 ended up being a field goal. That cost you 4 points right there. How much did you lose by? You lost by 3.
Yeah. And again, and we're going to get into it during the LSU recap later in the show. This is a special 2-hour edition of Inside the Hog Pen. We're playing with the time frame a little bit to see what fits. So we thank everybody for joining us. Don, I'm gonna butcher his name. I'm gonna put that one off to the side.
Don,
Butcher?
Don out here writing War and Peace, man. He's put a Senate bill on the table.
He did. Since 2 weeks ago, I would have said Arkansas has no chance. None. But I saw something against LSU that can't be measured with analytics, and that was great heart. The kind of heart that plays over star ratings. So while I predicted a blowout 2 weeks ago, I think that heart will show again here. Texas A&M here in a close one. Jimbo and Bobby are getting along better than most hoped. They could win out, but Arkansas is interesting because they play so hard for Pittman. I don't think anybody expected us being a 17-point underdog to lose by 3.
I didn't.
I
come that close to putting money on LSU to cover. I'm glad I didn't now.
I sure as hell didn't. It's one of those things that you don't know which teams. Look, and I'll say it later on when we preview A&M. I don't know what my score prediction is going to be because I don't know what team's going to show up. Are we going to get the ones? Because here's the thing: if you a few, and Dylan and I covered this Saturday at the Little Oktoberfest. If you just tweak the little stuff, the little in-game stuff, we're sitting at 4-0 now.
Yeah.
That being said, hold on. That being said, okay, I caught wind. It was actually the news broke last night. Big thank you to Matt Hart over at Hawg Sports. Him and Adam Hall do a great job. If you are not part of that group, you need to be. Why aren't you? Go like that page. Go follow them. They actually broke it on a special edition of their podcast last night. It is expected that Rocket Sanders is coming back.
Is this starting to sound like last basketball season?
Don't do that.
We're dealing with knee management again. It's just instead of number 3, it's number 5.
Don't you know what I'm about to do? You know what I'm about to do. Don't do it.
I mean, what is it with these Little Rock kids and their knee management?
I don't know. I don't know.
So here's another link to that, because if you recall, your favorite basketball Razorback of all time kind of retweaked his knee at the Little Rock game last year, right before Christmas, and then Rocket hurts his knee playing in War Memorial Stadium. I mean, let me tighten my tinfoil. All right. We'll just leave that be.
I am getting text messages saying it's hard to hear me. If anybody out there could let me know how my audio is, please let me know.
Sound good to me. Not quite Barry White voice, but you sound pretty good. So
I'm watching I've got the stream up too, and
yeah.
Dylan is kind of producing from the background, letting us know how our audio streams is. He is testing his equipment out for the Man Cave show coming up. So let's run back over here to the Harris Made Chef Services live fan feedback. And
we were down to Chris, I think. Chris, I'm not even going to attempt
to. Y'all keep them coming. I like this.
Yeah.
Chris, Ferrari,
Faraci, maybe. We apologize, man.
I'm gonna need y'all. I'm gonna need y'all to put some pronunciation keys with your name so I don't butcher.
I need the judges from Jeopardy. I need a ruling from the judges here.
I greatly apologize. Ruling from the judges is Faraci.
Faraci. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Ruling from the judges is Faraci. No elite coach cares about what fans say about him. I love Coach Pitt, but this was a bad move. Yeah. If they didn't care, no, I agree with Chris. I'm gonna leave out and big. Carolyn Williams, Razorback girl. The problem with criticizing players is please don't forget these are 18 to 22-year-olds, and the parents of recruits see this stuff. And as a mother, you can bet your ass I'm not sending my boys somewhere where the fan base attacks my child when I know he is giving his best. from a parent's perspective, she hits it right on the head.
Yeah. Now that I will say this, I've got 3 kids myself, so I feel like I can come back and say this. If you don't want to send your kids where somebody in the fan base is going to criticize them, they're not going to be playing college ball, because the stuff that's going on with our fan base here happens at every program that I would say every Power 5 program. Okay. It's going to happen at Ole Miss. It's going to happen at Arkansas. I would, if I were the parents of Jalen Milroe right now, the quarterback at Alabama, I would delete every bit of my social media. I wouldn't, or just not ever look at it, one or the other.
But at the same time, okay.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it's going to happen.
But think about this for a minute, MC. Think about this for a minute, okay? Do you not think that there are people in the Alabama fan base losing their minds because of Alabama actually looks human this year?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
That's just the way it is. Chuck Pendergrass says Pittman himself said he only had Twitter because it helps with recruiting. Okay, but if you're off Twitter, which, again, recruiting is the way of Twitter now, but most kids have Instagram more than anything else.
Yeah.
Loki DeWitt. I like this because it's redacted, but again, it takes up the entire spectrum. We're going to move it to the side. He says there are some toxic fans out there, that unfortunately, and all too often, they get on social media and make a redacted out of themselves by talking.
I like that.
The internet has made us feel like we can say things that we would never say to another man's face. If they wanted to keep their teeth, should a coach have thicker skin? Sure. But you also don't stick your hand in a wasp nest and expect not to get stung. The man pulled his hand out. Don't hate on him for that.
And I understand that, but
Loki's
along that
here,
same token,
Loki's over here getting philosophical, man.
yeah, he is. And I like it because I used a similar analogy earlier in the week. You know, I used the analogy of after the BYU loss, he knew the mood of the fan base.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you purposely turn the stove on and then stick your hand on top of the stove? Because that's kind of what I felt like it was. So that, he used the wasp nest, I used the stove.
Funny you should say that.
Okay.
There are fans out there in the Twitter world or X world, whatever you want to call it now, that love to get butt hurt, but they love to play the victim when they're the ones that threw the grenade. I'm not named, so if your butt gets puckered because you think I'm talking about you, I probably am. I know this individual personally, and they like to play victim and cry wolf when they're the ones that threw the grenade. So take that as it may. Brandon Laughlin says, if we play like we did Saturday, we'll beat A&M. Woo, pig. So plus clean up some. I agree.
You clean up all that it's going to take from the LSU game to A&M. You clean up the penalties, you win.
So I saw something. I got a buddy on TikTok, and he makes just little commentary, opinionated polls, opinionated TikToks and stuff. And I saw the TikTok that he was talking about. But here's the thing: there is no former or ex Razorback fan. There's no. I used to be a Razorback fan until they did this. I was a Razorback fan until they did this. You're either all in or you're all out. Okay? Period. I'm Razorback Zach has spoken. Not like my word means much, but still, I can try. You're either all in on the Razorbacks or you're not. You cannot be, we're great when we win, and then fire everybody, bench KJ when we lose. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. MC, we've got royalty in the house, by the way. Casey Sutton is in the house. She has kicked Cancer's ass twice, and yes, I've said it every show. I don't care. That's something that's not an easy feat.
We will
It's
mention
not-
that every time because it's worth mentioning every time.
Absolutely, is saying above. But sad part is every team out there has fans like this. We just see it more because we're Razorback fans. Yeah, and you're right, but at the same time, I would love to see Alabama Twitter attacking Nick Saban. Personally,
I think you've had some of that. I think you had some of that after the Florida State, or no, not Florida State.
Texas.
Who did they lose to?
Texas.
After the Texas loss, I imagine you had some of that. Some people saying, "Oh, the game has passed the old man by. You know, he's outstayed his usefulness." Blah blah blah. I mean, we're talking about the greatest man to ever do it.
Look at how he look at. I mean, 17-3, 17-6. You South Florida. Now,
Yeah.
I can't say anything because we got our ass kicked by BYU. But again, it happens in every fan base. Okay, it happens in every fan base. I mean, you're that's a valid argument. I get that. You know, see, Grant Hall says, I think the problems we're seeing are new coordinators. It takes time. I bet we get better as season goes along.
I think that's playing a role on offense more so than defense.
I agree. I agree with this because I finally saw what everybody keeps saying. It's let KJ be KJ. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When you get him involved in the running game, when he's not a pocket passer. Okay. But when he rolls out of the pocket and he throws on the run, he's one of the most accurate out of pocket passers I've ever seen. Okay.
Let the man cook. Let the man cook. That's what I've been saying.
Now, I've heard two pronunciations of this name, and we need a ruling from the judges. Is it Luke Has or Luke Haas?
I've heard Haas.
Basil says it's Has.
Okay, if he says Has, I'm going with Haas.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't know.
We'll go with Cool Hands Luke. How about that?
There you go. Our sponsors in the house tonight, Chef James Harris. Good evening from the Park Grill at Arkansas Museum of Fine Arts. What's up, Chef James Harris? Thank you for everything that you do for us here inside the Hog Pen. By the way, we are in search of a sponsor. Doesn't cost much, but we are in search of a sponsor. So if you're interested in sponsoring inside the Hog Pen and getting your business name out there, hit me or MC up. So let's take a quick break. We'll jump back into the comments and continue our discussion about personal attacks on the other side of the break. You're listening to Inside the Hog Pen on the Sideline Sports Radio Network. Back right after this. All right, welcome back to Inside the Hog Pen on the Sideline Radio Network. Razorback Zach hanging out with you alongside Marcus MC Carlton. We're going to put a cap on this because we got a lot more to cover. And by the way, we're going to be touching on some other Razorback sports because it's not just about Razorback football and basketball. There's a little bit of soccer involved here. But Loki DeWitt, once again, our new staff member, he's our statistician. So welcome, Loki, to Inside the Hog Pen and Sideline Sports Radio. So, MC, are you saying we need Rocket back?
Well played, sir. Well played. Yes.
Yes. Very, very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. But, no, I mean, MC,
I will. Here's my last statement I'll say on this, and then we can move on to whatever the next topic is. I'm not saying the personal attacks on how fat Sam Pittman is or how his anatomy looks or whatever. Not saying that's cool, you know. But the problem I have is that some of his biggest defenders about saying you can't attack somebody that way are the same people that are going out and personally attacking anyone who doesn't agree with them about anything related to Sam Pittman's coaching career. And they are also some of the most the loudest ones personally attacking a former player that doesn't share their opinion on anything. And if y'all have seen Twitter at all, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about all the interaction back and forth with Jake Beckett.
This is the thing.
Are personal attacks okay if it's somebody you don't like or somebody you don't agree with? Because to me, one is just as wrong as the other.
Well,
if you're not gonna if you get mad when somebody says Sam Pittman or something like that, then you should get just as mad when somebody goes and edits Wikipedia of Jake Beckett to say what it said.
here's the thing. All right. Majority, I'm just going to say it. And if it pisses you off, I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not. I'm just not. A majority of the people that are personally attacking Sam Pittman are probably basement-dwelling mouth breathers.
Yeah.
Okay?
Probably so.
And if that pisses you off, good. Welcome to how it feels. Because here's the thing. All right. Everybody's like, oh, we support former Razorbacks. We love our former Razorbacks. And while some of the things that Jake Beckett has said, non-sports related, have really irritated me.
Mm-hmm.
The man wore a Razorback uniform in the peak of what could have been the peak of Razorback football.
It's the peak of our lifetime.
You know? And y'all are turning this. Oh, he didn't serve. Actually, being a former service member, yes, he did. Yes, he did.
I mean, I don't like the hypocrisy of it because
it's either
the ones who are coming to Sam's defense, that's fine. But if you're going to come to Sam's defense in one breath, you can't do the exact same thing to Jake Beckett because either you didn't like what he said or you don't agree with him politically or whatever.
Here's the thing.
I agree with his sports take. I think that the football program has issues and has problems. That doesn't mean I agree with everything else he says.
Here's the thing, okay? I'm going to use you and I for an example.
Yeah.
I hope you don't mind.
No, man, go for it. Go for it.
Because we talked about this on the show.
Yeah, go for it.
Not to get into that deep, but there are some of your tweets that I have seen.
Right.
That I'm like, that's that. I don't really like that. It's a wonderful thing because I just took my thumb on my screen and scrolled. I just kept scrolling. It's a magical thing. Everybody should learn it. I didn't comment MC's an idiot. I didn't comment MC's got a dumb goatee. I didn't comment that. Yeah. I kept
It's
scrolling.
gray. It's not dumb. It's gray.
Hey, look.
Oh, I get it, man. Newsflash, it ain't gonna get any better. It's just gonna get more gray.
I got attacked when a certain player back in the spring was being accused of some things. I got attacked for just saying karma is a bitch. I got fired from a little media company because
I remember that.
Karma.
Vaguely remember it, but I remember it. Yeah.
That's it. All right. That's it. All right. I'm going to put a cap on this. And, guys, you're either all in. The last thing I'm going to say is the way people are acting on Twitter is exactly why no high-profile coach wants the job. Hell, y'all ran Sam Pittman off Twitter. All right? Y'all ought to be ashamed. Not our fans. Our fans, I know, didn't do it. Patsy Bardwell says, if people don't think players and coaches are haunted by busted plays or lost games, watch Resurgence. Look at Clint Sterner's eyes and tell me he isn't still haunted. Our guys and coaches are going to be haunted for a bit. We don't need to belittle them. I watched that, by the way. Big thank you to MC for letting me have Hawg Plus. While the only thing from that film and from that season that people are going to remember is that fumble, the bigger picture was they brought Houston Nutt, like him or not, in the later years, he brought Razorback football together.
Oh, and I will always be grateful for the as it was titled, resurgence, because that's what it was. He put it back on solid footing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does this sound familiar? He put it back on solid footing, but the ceiling is maybe not as high as it could be. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound like anything we've talked about in the last, couple weeks?
Yeah. So here's the thing. I'm tired. I personally, I don't like mediocrity, but I don't like the bar that we have somehow apparently set. And you said it best in pre-show when we were meeting pre-show. I don't like the bar being set. At least he's better than Morris.
Yeah, me neither.
Morris went over in the SEC, was blown out by Western Kentucky, was more or less bamboozled by North Texas, was picked off 5 times against San Jose State to the point that the quarterback in that game went and played them. If you can't beat them, join them. If there's any true statement there. In Sam Pittman's first game, he had Georgia. He was leading Georgia and had Georgia on the ropes. And the bar is he's better than Pittman. We've been to 3 straight bowls. The last coach to do that was Houston Nutt. Do I need to keep going?
Here's my problem. And like I said, my problem that I'm having right now, the heartburn about, is stuff that's on the field. I don't care what the man looks like. I don't care what he eats. I don't care how much cold beer he drinks, as long as it doesn't affect the product on the field. The product on the field is where I'm having an issue, because we're seeing a lot of the same issues in year 4 that we saw in year 1. And to me,
that I do agree with.
That's not acceptable to me. In year 4, we should not be looking to go. We should not be in a situation where we're hoping to make 6-6 and make a bowl game in year 4. This is just, that's my problem. The penalties, the pre-snap penalties, are the biggest thing I have a problem with, because that shows a lack of discipline, which goes directly to the coaching staff. That's what I've always been taught, is that pre-snap penalties are lack of discipline. Where does your discipline comes from? It comes from your leaders. It's just, that's where my problems are. I don't care what the man looks like. I don't care. That's, there were a couple comments I wanted to throw in here just really quick. David, I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher your last name. David Hazlitt. JB isn't the only former player to criticize how things are going on the Hill. He's the only one that I've heard be very vocal about it. JB being Jake Beckett. Jake got very vocal, and as a former Razorback, he has every right to, because as Zach and I pointed out earlier in the show, he's been there at the pinnacle. He was there for 21-5. He was a key piece on that defense that played for Petrino. Another one from David says, it's almost like Bielema 2.0. You could make some similarities between what we're seeing right now with Pittman and what we saw under Bielema. There are some definite similarities. We did Patsy Bardwell. Eric Jernigan, Eric, my buddy, Jonesboro, Northeast Arkansas representing. Tired of this keyboard warrior society we live in. Don't say something about somebody online that you wouldn't say to their face. I agree with that. I have no problem with that. That's we've heard that for several years now, and I have some friends that's what they're teaching their kids right now, is like, if you wouldn't go up and say it to their face, you don't say it online. Chuck Pendergrass says, he could look like the Elephant Man. I don't care. Just win. Chuck, you're in my head, buddy. That's where I'm at. I feel like that, and I'm going to steal this from Zach. Hashtag here's the thing.
Get it trending on X.
A win this weekend is going to cure a lot of this, because Hawg fans, whether you're siding with, either you're team Jake Beckett or you're anti-Jake Beckett, whatever. Everybody is in agreement that we want to win. How we get there is the difference in what people are talking about right now. A win this weekend would do a lot to get everybody focused back on talking about the right stuff instead of worrying about if the coach is on Twitter or not, or if somebody's making fun of his body style or fat shaming him or whatever. If you go down and you beat Texas A&M this weekend, everything's going to calm down a little bit for a few days. That's my take anyway.
No, I agree. Hang on just a second there, fellas. I'm trying to work on something.
Chris, I saw another comment. Chris Faraci, is that what we decided on? Was his?
Yeah. Chris,
lifelong.
If that's the way you pronounce your name, give me a thumbs up. Give me a hell yeah.
Lifelong Clarksdale, Mississippi Hawg fan with a kid on the hill now. Turn the Sardis, Mississippi Hawg loose. He's talking about KJ.
Yeah.
Let KJ be KJ. And we saw this past weekend down at LSU when they let KJ do what makes him good. Instead of trying to force the square peg into the round hole, you saw the results. You saw him to me, he looked more comfortable. Even when he was rolling away from the pocket or on the move, just running the ball, he just looks more comfortable when he has the flexibility to, kind of make decisions on the fly rather than being, I don't want to say pigeonholed, but being a little more. They're trying to make him into Brandon Allen. He's not Brandon Allen.
You can't. Not every player, not every quarterback's going to be Brandon Allen. But hey, MC, let's bring in our film analyst who actually breaks down.
All right, that'll work.
Dylan Madden.
Oh, D-Mad.
D-Mad, what's up, man?
Oh, from parts unknown, still trying to build the man cave out.
Hey, that's all right. We can actually see and hear you this time. So
hey, look, if you look right there, that's a product of my girlfriend. Shout out her.
So, Dylan, we're talking about LSU and the game that we saw on Saturday.
Are you sure?
And, I like Sam Pittman's pregame speech, and I did see improvement. But here's my issue. Improvement was seen, but there are no moral victories in football.
I agree. We definitely want to come out there with a win. We don't want to be 2-2. We'd rather be 3-1. Really, rather be 4-0. I think we're probably 15 penalties away from being 4-0, honestly. And a lot of the stuff I'm seeing, I'm having trouble with. And I told Zach about this earlier. Going back to our Brett Bielema days, we didn't have problems with goal lines. Like, if we got to the goal line, 9 out of 10 times it was a touchdown.
Yeah.
And right now we are struggling. And that's being nice, saying that we're struggling on the goal line. And the fact that we're keep on having these false start penalties within the red area, it's not conducive to a winning culture. We've got to be more disciplined in that regard. I saw a lot of good stuff. You kind of got to give it to Malik Neighbors. He kind of ran by every single person in our defensive back room this weekend, and that's kind of it is what it is. He's probably going to be a first or second round talent coming out of the NFL. But
go ahead. If you look at the schedule, and guys, y'all can chime in here too. LSU is the toughest game on schedule. If we continue to improve from Saturday, LSU's the best team and the hardest team we're going to face.
Most offensively skilled team that we face too. And we held them to what, 33? That's not great. They scored 30 in the second half, but that just proves that they could have put 60 up on us if they really wanted to. But kind of going back to Little Rock Oktoberfest, I kind of prefaced it with Zach. We have to win the turnover battle. That's been Zach's phrase that pays is we're 14-0 when we win the turnover battle. Mm-hmm. Guess what? I don't think we won it. I don't think we lost it, but we got to we've got to win the turnover battle. We're 14-0 at all time. We got to win that. That's our number one priority. Second priority, quit holding, quit false starting. That's got to be the biggest.
So let me stop you on the whole holding thing. Do y'all understand? There is holding literally on every single play. It's just a matter of how of how attentive these refs are. If you're Big 12 refs, you're going to get called on it all day. All day.
This is true. And I know, like, our SEC officiating, we didn't get called for a lot of holdings last week. But we also ran the ball downhill a lot. And I know I was screaming that at Little Rocktoberfest, go downhill.
Yeah.
We were running between the tackles. I think that's where stupid and unsportsmanlike penalties. But I think that's where a lot of our game plan needs to go from, is running between the tackles. You saw how much push we got when we ran it behind Bo Limmer. Like, he didn't have a great game again, but he had a solid enough game to, move his player. And I think he was blocking Mason Smith most of the time, or whatever his name is, and kind of put up a good fight against him.
But even still, MC, we saw this too with KJ, is when he gets out of the pocket and he throws on the run, that's KJ being KJ. Now, there was a couple of times where he had a guy wide open in the flat or in the seam and didn't see him. I don't see how. You're 6'4", so you're 6'6".
He's just losing eye discipline at that. He's got to go through his progressions. I heard Texas A&M reporter was talking about how Bobby Petrino has been telling his receiver or his quarterbacks, hey, don't just throw it at somebody's feet just because you always have the check down. You have to go through your whole progression. And he's got to go through his whole progression. Now, he's had to be rushed on a lot of it, but, stepping up into the pocket is going to help him at the same time. That you said he's not Brandon Allen, but Brandon Allen's in the NFL, and he's made a career of stepping up into the pocket. Also had a great offensive line while he was here. So
right. Yeah, that's a big difference. And then there were a few times, and Kirk Herbstreit was really good about pointing it out too, that KJ stuck in the pocket, actually moved up into the middle of the pocket as it was starting to collapse and still made the play, took the hit. That's an advantage of being built like a linebacker. You can do that.
I don't know, linebacker's the right one. Maybe defensive end. That dude
is
big.
A Takeo Spikes top linebacker,
Yeah. But no.
So, Katie asked a question, and she's asked me this several times, and I wish I could give her an answer. By the way, Katie, answer your text messages. I wish I could give her an answer. She wants to know, can somebody tell me why KJ goes so far back into the pocket so much? Dylan, can you?
It's you, Dylan.
Is she talking about like when he's dropping back to pass? I'm guessing. I think they're still teaching like a 3-step drop, even if you're in the shotgun. Used to there, before shotgun all the time. You had a 5-step drop, 7-step drop, and a 3-step drop. I believe they're still trying. I don't know if they're still teaching a 3-step drop. It doesn't seem like they should be. I just think I think what it is the eyes are kind of getting a little closer to him than you think. The tackles aren't pushing the defensive ends upfield as much, so it kind of seems like he's dropping back far. I really don't think he's dropping back too terribly far. I think it's just the tackles aren't pushing the defensive ends upfield as much as we're used to.
That was a great question, Katie. Now, Richard Wright, one of our longtime fans, says, I really like this dude's comments. Just got here, so didn't catch his name. Are
Farachi?
You talking about what? Richard, tell me which one you're talking about, big man, and we'll get that addressed. Moving into what I saw against LSU. By the way, big thank you to the guys over at Little Oktoberfest. Apparently there's video out there of me emceeing the beer stein competition. It got wild, but I had a great time. Can't wait.
I heard there were some complaints from the neighbors.
Can't wait. Yeah, can't wait till next year. And can't wait to be back next year. It's a lot of fun. Okay, so it was mentioned by somebody in the comments earlier in the show. I did see them play with heart, but I'm going to say they played with purpose. I mean, you're 17-point underdogs and you lose by 3. MC, that's got to be huge.
Well, I mean, if you put money down on that game, you probably hated it because you probably bet on LSU to cover. Because if I had laid money down, that's where I would have laid it.
I have one rule: it's not to bet on Arkansas games. However, I placed a bet today on the A&M game. Well, the reason why is because A&M's a 6.5-point favorite on the BS app. I'm not going to shout them out because they don't sponsor us.
There you go. There you go.
So, they have a 6.5-point favorite. But how many times has this game come down to less than 7 points?
Oh,
so I took Arkansas on the plus 6.5.
This is game 6. LSU was what? The 6th game that we've lost by less than 7.
Oh, I don't know, man. It's hard to keep up now with.
There's been a lot of games.
Record on one-score games, and it's not good.
Richard says, "New guy on top and love all 3." That is Dylan Madden from the Man Cave. We like to call him D-Mad. Richard, of course, MC on the bottom there. But so this thing about moral victories kind of bugs me. MC, you've got kids in football, right?
Yeah.
They sometimes miss a block, or they miss an assignment, or they don't, they fumble the ball or something.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you handle moral victories? I mean, do they get, it's okay, but
well, okay, so let me set the table with the situation. My oldest son has now played a total of 2 tackle football games. So, I'm not necessarily going full general, with Coach Boone about if you fumble the ball, I'm going to break my foot off in your John Brown hind parts. I'm not going there yet.
And then you will run a mile.
Yeah. Yeah. My son would be more upset about the mile than he would me breaking my foot off.
But I mean, what would your philosophy be when it comes to a moral victory? I mean,
at the collegiate level or at the peewee level? Because
either way,
because 2 different worlds.
Well, yeah, but I mean, as somebody who has,
yeah, I don't do moral victories.
Okay.
I personally, as a dad, I don't like participation trophies.
Oh, I'm gonna.
I think we're 3-0 on that one.
So my daughter got one at one time, and she handed it back to the coach. She said, "I didn't win. I don't want it. I didn't win."
Yeah, I don't like. Now I don't tell my kids they can't have them, but I will. Long story short, I'll say this: my oldest son, puts a lot more emphasis on the trophy. When we have family come over and he decides he wants to show something off, he's not showing off his football participation trophy. He's grabbing the one from his baseball season when they went 12-0 and won the league. That's
he's pulling the ring out.
Yeah. He does the Joe Burrow. He does this.
Hey, I bet you the night before he's downstairs just to shine in that ring. Dad, I need a Q-tip. Hey, I don't blame him on that.
To me, that explains it. That explains which one he puts more value on.
Why do we put such an emphasis on moral victories on the college level, especially nowadays? Because I don't think we even mentioned the word moral victories 20 years ago.
No.
Can I ask a question? Who's happy about this loss?
I've seen some people on Twitter that they were, I don't know maybe if happy is the right word, but it's almost like they were content because we played so much better.
Yeah, I mean, we played so much better, but here's the thing, and I've said it once, I'm going to say it again. A loss is a loss.
Yeah.
I would not be happy with a loss. When they have film, I'm sure that they got called everything under the sun about every mistake they made, and then they probably got patted on the butt at the very end and said, "You were that close to winning."
Here's the
that
deal.
if you wouldn't make these dumb mistakes,
Redacted mistakes.
Yeah. I would
be
love,
walking out of Death Valley, a place that people don't often win. You would be walking out of Death Valley a winner.
And
Not
they
many
should.
people can say
I mean,
that.
and they should. But here's the thing, okay? I forgot my point.
Sorry.
well, while you're thinking of your point, I'll say this: they should have walked out of Death Valley with the win. This would have been possibly the first time ever that we had won back-to-back night games in Death Valley.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, they showed, access to Pittman's speeches and practice and all. They edit. Do y'all know they edit these videos?
Oh yeah, I
They
think
heavily. And again, I'm not dogging Hogs Plus. I love it.
Yeah.
But I want to be a fly on the wall when the cameras aren't rolling.
I'm sure
Because
Sam Pittman has.
I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure Sam Pittman has not broke his foot off in these guys' ass. I'm not sure of it. I'm not saying he hasn't.
No, I think Sam has the ability to say, no, cut that. We're not showing that.
Yeah.
They kind of do that in Hard Knocks.
Well,
too.
my point is my point is not the editing of the video. It's what he says when the cameras aren't rolling. Does he yell? Does he scream? Does he get in these guys' ass?
Yeah, I do remember a couple of years ago where he was talking about how they aren't the yelling type. They want people to talk at their normal voices. But at the same time, we've all been coached before. Some coaches' normal voice is screaming. I know there's been a lot of coaches that like to degrade and everything, and I personally, I don't care. That builds your mental toughness. Honestly, if somebody can be told how they're a piece of crap and they'll never be anything and they can bounce back from that, that's going to show that you have that gritty determination of being a better person.
Do y'all know I was called every name in the book? I was hurled
I'm sorry.
I was hurled every insult that people could think of when I was in the military.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Little Rocktoberfest.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I mean, and it made me a better person. That's what I don't understand, is because, dude, I was told my mama forgot about me. I was told I was the scum of the earth. I'm dumbing this down and PGing it.
Redacting it.
Redacting it, as Loki would say. This society as a whole lacks mental toughness. But we're up against the break. And if I don't take this break, we're going to be in trouble. So, on the other side of the break, we're going to continue our discussion. You're listening to Inside the Hog Pen on the Sideline Radio Network. Back right after this. All right, welcome back to Inside the Hog Pen on the Sideline Radio Network. Razorback Zach hanging out with you alongside Marcus MC Carlton and joined by our analyst Dylan D-Mad Madden. Gentlemen, we move on from LSU. We're done with it. There's nothing we can do about it now except look forward to our second consecutive of 4 road games going to Dallas to play A&M. And do y'all know that Arkansas actually has a winning record against A&M?
Overall, yeah.
Overall,
Yeah,
we have a
long-term.
winning record of it. 40,
pretty
like
sad.
42, like 42 and 38 and 3, I think.
Yeah.
Give or take.
It's the last probably 12 years that's been kind of
Yeah.
Well,
Ever since A&M came into the SEC is when things kind of went downhill for Arkansas. We've only got one win against them since they've been in the SEC.
Shout out Bobby Petrino.
Yep.
Appreciate you.
T-Dub throwing for, 550
500.
something yards.
He was 504, if I have that
And
number correct.
it was nuts.
Sam Pittman beat him like a year or two ago.
Well,
true.
yeah, we did have the 20.
I was like,
21.
Chad Morris almost beat him. Stop.
I was like, wait.
That's the thing, though. That's how crazy this series is that Chad Morris was like one missed blocked away from beating A&M.
Twice.
And that
I'm
being
pretty
his
sure.
only SEC win.
I'm pretty sure he almost beat him twice, too. That's the
Yeah.
sad part.
Yeah.
I don't
This
know.
game is, if you go all the way back to that Tyler Wilson game where he threw for 500 plus,
Yeah. Which is still a
from
record.
that game forward, I think there's been one game that's been a blowout, and that was the Manziel year.
All right,
that
ladies and
played
gentlemen,
at, A&M.
it's that time. Take your screenshots, write it down on paper. Do what you got to do, because here's the information that you need. Texas A&M, Arkansas, Dallas, Texas, 11 a.m. God, that's going to be an early day. Thank God you're going to Dallas, MC. I don't want to get up that early for postgame. Sorry. I love you, dude. Holy crap.
Zach, we smoking something at the apartment? Smoking some meat? Watching the game?
You mean barbecue wise?
Yes.
Other stuff. I don't know yet. I don't know what my plans are. My kid's playing in the homecoming game Friday night, so I may go out. I may sneak out and go out there. I haven't decided yet.
I feel bad for Mr.
She's
David.
in the band, not the football team. Let me say that she's in the band, not the football team. Although she'd make a hell of a linebacker. So, but here's the thing: is if you guys think about this for a second, LSU, A&M, Ole Miss, and Alabama, they all have one thing in common. Alabama, not so much, but here recently they have. We always play them a hell of a lot better. Now, I don't know if the first three games we were playing up to their competition, we were playing down to our competition, and we our butts were puckered against BYU because we saw what was coming up. I don't know. I honestly can't tell you. What I can tell you is if we continue this trend, all right, Arkansas may be coming home with the Southwest Classic trophy. MC, what do you think?
It's possible. I think if you could clean up the penalties, like if I could wave a magic wand and say they're going to have 5 penalties for the whole game, then I think, yeah, they win, because I think that's the key to keeping. Let's face it, guys. Penalties are the only reason that they're 2-2 instead of 4-0 right now. It's penalties. Yeah. That's all it is. You can go back and you can look at the BYU game, you can look at the LSU game, and you can circle a handful of plays that were penalties that either shifted the momentum or completely killed an Arkansas drive.
Well, didn't you said something pre-show, I think, MC, about one of Arkansas's drives, like a first and goal. First
drive of the game at LSU. They drive all the way down the field, 70, 75-yard drive, whatever it was, get down, have third and goal on the 1, and you get called for a false start and end up having to kick a field goal instead of getting 7. You get 3 points there instead of 7. You lose by 3.
It's
the execution. I'm definitely in favor of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just you can't have and Dylan, you're the analyst. You look at film. The pre-snap penalties are the ones that are the absolute knife to the heart because they're completely preventable.
Yeah, there's no penalty that's not objective, like as false start. We can all see a tight end moving. You know, and I don't know if y'all noticed it towards the end of the game. Has started putting his head down because he saw that the defensive line shifting was kind of getting to him. So instead of like keeping his head up and watching what was going on, at snap of or like right before the snap, he put his head down, just looked straight at the ground.
Yeah.
And so that way he couldn't
Well,
be
even
influenced
too,
by that.
I mean, let's do the one thing. Let's talk about the one thing against LSU real quick that nobody's talking about is the fake field goal.
Yeah. It got a first down out of it, and then we proceed to kick a field goal.
And then you end up kicking the field goal anyway.
It's so frustrating. Like
so that's what and that thing, boy, Katie and I were watching it live from the stadium, and that was so aggravating because you don't get many fake field goals on special teams.
I kind of had to contain myself at the stadium because every time there was a false start, I wanted to throw something, you know, cuss people out. And, you know, you just have random people walking right by you. Like, why is that guy having a temper tantrum right now?
I was the MC of the event, but inside I looked like Hayden Panettiere from Remember the Titans pacing it. Loki says, as for A&M, I think we're going to come into that game with something to prove after the last couple of games. They're going to come in rumbling. Couple that with the rivalry and the fact that a former coach is on the other sideline now, and you have
we hadn't even talked about that.
And you have a lot to fight for. Now, let's see if that chip on their shoulder will carry them to a W or drags them down to another long night.
So my first interaction with this show last year, I kind of made the comment. I don't know if y'all remember it. We were talking about Missouri State, and I said plus or minus 69,000 neck braces.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I'm going to say there's going to be a total of 0 neck braces this year.
I think we're going to be coming in playing with a purpose. I don't think there's going to be any.
Oh, God. And I think they're going to have a lot of downfield shots. Old Max Johnson, he's going to be slinging the pill like old Bobby Petrino loves.
Yeah, and he's the backup, but let's not forget this is the same Max Johnson that has SEC experience. He comes from LSU.
He's the Steven Garcia of Texas A&M right now. When is he going to leave?
Yeah, exactly.
MC, what are your thoughts?
It seems like he's been playing. I mean, he's been playing college ball longer than Bo Nix has. So
Bo Nix can do crap in the SEC. He goes to the Pac-12 and he's like Pac-12 Player of the Year.
Yeah,
Heisman candidate.
MC, what are your thoughts on Bobby P being on the other sideline and this whole experiment with him and Jimbo?
Well, it had the train has stayed on the tracks for the most part. Offense has not really been their problem from what I've seen. I kind of felt like last week their game from looking at highlights, once the starting quarterback went down and they changed quarterbacks to Max Johnson, that their offense seemed to be a little more in sync and moved the ball a little better. Now, because I'm so jaded and because I've seen this movie before, I expect Max Johnson to come in and look like Ryan Mallett or Tyler Wilson, just slinging the ball around everywhere. Bobby knows offense. Okay, say what you will about the man, he's an offensive savant. I mean, he just makes stuff work. He made Casey Dick into a serviceable quarterback. So it's he's gonna points are gonna go up. I think
take the over.
For first one to 40 wins.
All right. So before we get into our picks, let's go with Harris Med Chef Services live fan feedback. Richard Wright, 38-28, Arkansas. You heard it here.
Okay, I'll take it.
I'll take it. David Haslett. I'm so bad with names. I'm sorry. Well, he is Navy, and all I'm going to say is go Army. Nah, I love you, David. You're good, man. 37-34, Arkansas. Ooh, that's going to be a close one. That's going to be a barn burner.
How would that be for some Cam Little redemption after what happened last year?
Never mind. Sorry. Nope. We're moving on.
Don't do it. With Bobby P in the press box, I don't think it's as big of a deal for A&M.
I still think it is because you have Bobby P up there. He can see the entirety of the field.
Mm-hmm.
He can see exactly what Arkansas is doing.
Hold on, D, because keep in mind, you're in Dallas, you're in Texas Stadium. Okay? You're in AT&T Stadium. Their press box is not on the 50. It's in the corner.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's in the corner.
I feel like Bobby Petrino has enough experience to be able to see anything from any press box.
Yeah.
He's going to be able to see exactly what zones that we're dropping into if we're in man-to-man. Oh my God, it's almost Mike Leach-esque how well he can call a game. It's honestly a little scary.
Look at what he did with Missouri State on the FCS level. Okay.
Yeah.
Take that.
How many plays in do we get before we see a wheel route?
I think it's the first one out of the gate. Oh, wait. Hot take. That's my hot take. First play out of the gate is a wheel route from A&M.
I can tell you what the 4th and 1 play is going to be.
It better be a shotgun.
It better be a quarterback draw under center, not from the.
I want the what's Philly calling theirs the brotherly shove. I want the brotherly shove.
Our offense is big enough that we could actually do something like that. Because like Dominique's, Dominique, he's big enough. He can push the pile. I would also say, was it Shamar Easter? He was the one that came in 6'7", 250.
I think so, yeah.
He could come in and push the pile. We could definitely do that. I don't.
So, gonna go around the horn here. And Dylan, give me your score and a hot take.
57-56, Arkansas.
Good God!
I'll take it, dude. I'm gonna be there. That would be like the most entertaining thing ever.
Talk about pulling numbers out of your ass.
I definitely just pulled that one out, honestly.
Lord.
I'm serious on take the over this week. It's gonna be there's gonna be some points scored this week. Let's see. Hot take. Nudie gets a pick. Is that a hot take? Because I think he's got one almost every game right now.
All right. MC, how about you, buddy?
Oh, I'm gonna go hard overhead. And I'm gonna write the storybook ending, 44-41. Cam Little gets redemption for the doink last year.
Okay.
Hot take. Rocket not only plays, but he has over 100 yards.
Damn it!
I got another hot take. Hold on.
Okay.
All right.
Overtime game, and I lose my parlay because we don't score a touchdown in overtime. That's my hot take.
I hate both of y'all.
Sorry.
The manager at the Park Grill, Chris Mosby, says 21-17 Arkansas. Good defensive game. That's Jeez, man. You know what? The hell with it. Double overtime, 54-51 or 53-52. Arkansas over A&M. Cam Little.
Lord have mercy.
Cam Little is the screw it. 53-52 Arkansas, double overtime.
Zach or Loki, we tried. Don't worry.
Yeah. And what's crazy about this is that we didn't talk about any of this before the show.
No, this never happens. Never, ever happens. Hey, we got to take another break when we come back. It's the first session of MC School of Hog Hoops of the year. I'm excited. D-Mad, by the way, man, thank you for joining us on Inside the Hog Pen tonight. We appreciate your insight. All right, on the other side of the break, MC School of Hog Hoops, back right after this. All right, ladies and germs, time to take your seat on Inside the Hog Pen because school is officially back in session for the 2023-2024 MC School of Hog Hoops. MC, what do we got on the docket for class today?
Man, oh man, oh man. It's hard to believe, but practice has officially begun. Practices are underway, and we are, let's see, what is today? Today, the 27th. We are exactly 31 days away from the exhibition game with Purdue. Normally, I wouldn't get excited about exhibitions. I haven't heard anything about it yet, but with it being on campus and in Bud Walton Arena, I would say there's a good chance that it'll probably end up being like an SEC Network Plus or ESPN Plus. Yeah. But normally I don't get excited about exhibition games. But the fact that this is a top 10 team that we're playing in an exhibition, that could really tell us a lot early on about this team and what to expect. They finalized a lot of the TV schedule, and the Duke game on November 29th, which is the Wednesday night following Thanksgiving. That game is going to be primetime ESPN. It's going to be 8:15, late tip-off for a Wednesday night game. I don't think anybody's going to care. I think the attendance record of Bud Walton Arena will fall that night. And, I'm excited.
You think the attendance record will shatter that night?
Oh, yeah. With Duke coming in? Yeah.
You talking about Duke or Purdue?
Duke.
Oh, yeah. No, when Duke comes in, hands down.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you this. You're talking about the Duke coming up in about a month. Let's say, and again, it doesn't count toward regular season, okay, because it's just next. Because wasn't that one like was that just a regular exhibition game? Or
it's a charity exhibition game. I'm looking at the schedule right now, but it doesn't say.
It was some kind of charity
game. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, and I'm going to ask the hard-hitting question.
All right.
Because of what we're going through with football.
Right.
If Arkansas was to lose to Purdue, how bad does Arkansas Twitter melt down and call for Muss's head before the season even starts?
I don't think well, you're always going to have some, okay? There's always somebody that's going to call for a firing if you lose a single game. I mean, we had people calling for Dave Van Horn to be fired.
Yeah, I remember that.
After they lost the season opener. My thing is Muss has built up a little more credit. And by credit, I mean with wins. The NCAA tournament win over Kansas, going to 3 straight Sweet 16s. You've built up a little more tolerance.
Can he get over the hump, though? Is the big
Absolutely he can. Yeah.
Can he get to the Final Four? If the core of this team stays healthy, look out March.
Yeah. And let's not forget that, I hate to look this far down the road, but the opening round of the South region is going to be in Memphis this year. So if Arkansas takes care of business in the regular season,
could the dynamic duo end up in Memphis?
I mean,
let's burn it down.
I mean, can you imagine FedEx Forum in a sea of red, getting ready to watch the Hogs play, and you hear a big thunderous hog call in FedEx Forum for an NCAA tournament game? Yeah.
Don't tease me with your time, man.
That's good stuff, man.
Loki is excited to be taken to school. I don't know how to take that. David Haslett says, if the game goes the way you all are calling it, I'll need to stock up on BP meds. Here's the thing, David, is I say this every show during football season, is before the season and during the season, consult your cardiologist to make sure your heart's healthy enough for Razorback sports. I got to do it too. But, just saying, consult your doctor and your cardiologist to make sure your heart's healthy enough for Razorback sports. And okay, so for those that don't know, let me tell this quick story, MC, because I know I'm off on a tangent. Dylan and Loki got to go to a Razorback game with me to Kent State. It was Loki's first Razorback game ever outside of Razorback State.
Nice.
First game for me with both of them. Big thank you to Chef James Harris for those tickets, by the way. And every time they did a hog call, I would scream louder in between. They got that little break in between. So that's a running joke that everybody that knows, if they hear me, they know Razorback Zach's in the house. I did it everywhere. And Katie hates it. Absolutely hates it. She will, as soon as a hog call breaks out, first thing she does is this right here. Because she knows it's coming. But so we've got Trevon, Dr. Brazil coming back. Okay.
Yes.
We got Devo coming back.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We've got the pieces in place.
Yeah. Yeah. There are some key players that I'll get to in just a second, but if I don't say this right now, I'm going to forget it. So earlier this week, it was announced that Arkansas had added some assistant coaches because under new NCAA legislation, basketball now allows 5 assistant coaches for on-court instruction during practices and games. So that means that Todd Lee, Michael Musselman, and Ronnie Brewer are going to join Keith Smart and Anthony Ruda as assistants to Muss. So instead of seeing Ronnie Brewer sitting behind the bench and also Michael Musselman and Todd Lee, those guys are now going to be on the bench next to Coach Ruda and Coach Smart.
Well, I've seen
to kind of help out.
But I've seen Brewer on the actual.
Well, and he's not considered to be on the bench if he's sitting behind the players. Now, when he comes out for a timeout or something, that doesn't count against it because technically he's coming out from behind the bench.
But I've seen him sit on the bench during games. They've shown the camera of the bench, and he's sitting there.
I don't know.
I didn't realize there was a seating arrangement according to these rules.
I didn't either until I read about this earlier.
It's going to be interesting when they go to Vanderbilt.
Yeah, no doubt, for sure.
Hey.
But what?
No, I was just saying.
Oh, okay.
I just call it like I see it.
So you were talking about additions to the roster and what it looks like.
Right.
I'm going to give you a couple guys' names that you need to watch out for because you mentioned Brazil's back, Devontae, Pinion, Jalen Graham, and I think that's the core of everybody that's back. But you've got a lot of new guys coming in. But the one that I'm really anxious to see what he does is L. Ellis. He's the transfer from Louisville, 6'3", 180 shooting guard, supposed to be able to pretty much score at will, inside or out. He had a pretty, if I remember correctly, when we played Louisville in the Maui Classic this past season, he had a pretty good game. I mean, we beat Louisville by like 40 points that night, but he seemed to be the one guy that could kind of make things happen a little bit. You've got him. You've got Layden Blocker coming in as the freshman. I expect some good things out of him. It may take him a little bit to get adjusted to the game, but I think you'll see him contributing before the season's over. Khalif Battle is another guard that I'm excited about. I mean, you're seeing a theme here. All these guys that I'm talking about are guards. I mean, we tried to go guard heavy, get some outside shooting. Another one that I think he's a 6'8" forward, but his game is pretty versatile is Chandler Lawson. And anybody that's familiar with Memphis Tigers at all, they know the Lawson family. And Chandler is one of the younger ones. He's a transfer in from Memphis. And I expect him to be maybe not start, but he's going to be one of those guys that'll give Brazil a breather every now and then and get an opportunity for some quality minutes. And I haven't even mentioned the 5-star freshman that came in recruiting class of Bay Fall out of the accelerated schools in Denver.
Yeah. David Haslett has a question for you. What happened to the kid that just committed to Missouri?
So Kofi Boateng, I think is his last name, Boateng. He's out of Little Rock. He was an Arkansas target, but he wasn't. From from everything I've read, he wasn't the highest priority in the class of 2024. Now, that's not to take anything away from Dennis Gates at Missouri and the job he's doing recruiting, because if you've kept up with what Gates has done since he took that job over, he has hit the recruiting trail hard and heavy, and he's bringing in some key pieces to Missouri, and I expect them to be much improved this year. But there is another couple kids that we kind of shifted our focus to. When it appeared that Boating was kind of leaning towards Missouri, we kind of shifted our focus to a couple other kids that are a little higher ranked. It's never good to lose in-state kids. It's really never good to lose them when they're a top 20 player in the country. But what makes that, I don't want to say acceptable, but maybe easier to take is, let's say the Boating kid, he's inside the top 20. There are a couple kids that we're on that are ranked ahead of him, say in the top 10. So there's 2 top 10 kids. One of them is from Link Academy in Branson. And forgive me, his name escapes me at the moment. But if that school sounds familiar, that's where Jordan Walsh came from. So we've got
about to break out in the NBA, by the way.
Yeah, watch him. Legit, watch out for Jordan Walsh to be a dark horse for NBA Rookie of the Year.
Yep. All right, so I want to watch that Duke game, by the way, because that one.
Well, and if you, you might as well get comfortable there in the Central Arkansas Hog Pen, because unless you're willing to throw down about $550, you're not going to be able to get into Bud Walton Arena, because I've seen tickets going for ridiculous amounts.
Right. So
on the secondary market,
we're gonna officially announce this at a later date, but we're in development of
research. We're in the lab.
We're in the lab right now because we want to do some new things and get you guys involved and do some try different things here at Inside the Hog Pen. And so we're going to do our version of a Manning cast, but I think what we're going to do is do it as an MC School of Hog Hoops. Now, what this is entailing, and we're still trying to work the logistics and everything out, is now we can't show the game on the stream,
right?
But you're going to be watching MC and I, and we're going to be talking about it with you, our live reaction of what happens in game. And I'm going
to apologize for some of my reactions in advance.
I'm going to actually be a student of MC School of Hog Hoops, because I want to know what I don't know. I want to learn the game, because like we've talked about, my bread and butter is the game of football. I've analyzed it since I was 15 years old. MC is the basketball guru. All right, that's why he has the School of Hog Hoops. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know. We have not picked out a game or how exactly we're going to do it, because there's a delay, obviously, because he's in Northeast Arkansas and I'm down here in Central Arkansas. But we're going to try it, and if it's successful and you guys enjoy it, we're going to keep doing it. Not to worry, ITHP's weekly show is not going anywhere. So
yeah, if you've seen like the coach's room, like what they do at the national title game, where they have a bunch of guys sitting around a table and they're watching the game, and then they're also talking about the strategy of what they're seeing on the screen. Between that and the Manning cast, that's kind of where we got the idea of trying to do this. It's just whether we can, the technology will allow us to pull it off or not is what we got to do.
Loki said $655 is what I just saw. Now, Dylan has a good idea, and how poetic would it be? Our first Manning cast was the same team that you had your first show with against Auburn. I think that's poetic justice right there.
That could be good. That could be good and bad, because the bigger the opponent, the more outlandish my reactions get.
We would have to turn your mic way down.
Just keep that mute button handy.
Way down. Hey, I wanted to give you guys an update on what's going on outside of the Big Three. Big thank you to Loki DeWitt, our statisticians, of Inside the Hog Pen. Volleyball is ranked number 23 in the nation with an overall record of 12-2. They are 2-0 in SEC play. Their next game is going on right now against Auburn on the SEC network. Soccer is ranked number 10 in the nation. Their overall record is 7-2 and 3-0 in SEC play. Their next game is tomorrow night at 6 against Missouri, and both of those are on the SEC network. So MC, dude, it ain't just about football and basketball here, dude. We touch on everything, and
Yeah,
volleyball and soccer are
they're taking care of business, man.
they're taking it. But softball is doing pretty well. They're gearing up to happen in the spring. I saw somewhere today where baseball has hit a recruiting milestone.
Yeah, so they were they officially had I'm going to pull this up on Twitter. They were deemed to have the top recruiting class in the country. And I'm trying to figure out, I'm going to pull it up on Twitter real quick because I don't remember the publication that said they had the top recruiting class in the country.
It was like something.
Yeah, it was one of the main collegiate baseball. That's who it is.
Collegiate baseball.
For the first time, Arkansas has won collegiate baseball's national recruiting championship. The Razorbacks landed a star-studded class that features 24 newcomers, including 14 freshmen, 9 four-year transfers, and 1 junior college transfer. So, if you follow recruiting, that's a big deal. I want to see it translate to the field, and I want to see this bunch take it to Omaha and hoist the big trophy. And if to put this in perspective, teams in the past that have done this, Vanderbilt. The last time Vanderbilt won it, I believe it was 2019. I think when they won it, they had the top recruiting class in the country that year, and then
haven't we had the top recruiting class at least once?
I think we had.
Oh no, was it we were ranked number 1 going into the season?
I think that was it. I don't think we had the top recruiting class in the country. I know we had like number 2 or number 3, depending on which publication you were looking at. But I think it was, and maybe back, I'm trying to think back like maybe 2015 or so with that class, there may have been something there. But, I mean, we're talking, several years ago there. But I know that, the worst recruiting class that Dave has had probably in the last 5 or 6 years has been maybe number 5. I mean, we've been in the top 5 in recruiting. I don't know that we've ever hit the number 1 from collegiate baseball. We may hit it from a different publication, but not from collegiate baseball.
Adam Green, dude, you're late. You're literally on the last couple of minutes of the show.
Slid in under the gun there.
Overall, I mean, outside of football struggling, Arkansas sports is not in a bad spot.
No, everything else seems to be going pretty well. I say that, but football's got a little work to do, and then Mike Neighbors has a little work to do with the women's team. But
yeah, I think the seat's getting a little warm for Mike.
I think so. I think he's but if he comes up this year and has a decent NCAA tournament run, I think that lowers the heat. I think what people are getting on him about is, a couple of years ago they went in as a 3 seed and got beat in the first round, and then last year they didn't even make the tournament and went to I believe it was the WNIT instead, and that
got ran out of there by Wright State.
That just doesn't cut it,
Yeah. Man, I tell you. Final thoughts, MC, before we get out of here tonight.
I don't have anything philosophical tonight. I think there's been enough stuff talked about on Twitter. I'm just going to say that, I'm making my first trip down to Dallas this weekend. Mrs. MC and I are going down with my uncle, the same uncle who took me to my very first Razorback game back in 1989, is going to be taking me to my first trip to Jerry World. So I'm really looking forward to that. No, this is Mama and MC only. So
hey, my girl Katie's coming in clutch. Tickets for the Purdue game are only $30, FYI.
And that game falls on the Saturday that is the open date for football, so you don't have any excuses.
Yep. I don't have anything philosophical either. I coming down off the Little Oktoberfest and then all this stuff, trying to digest all this stuff going on in Razorback Twitter. Y'all my whole thing is just, hey, be nice to each other.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Just be nice to each other.
Yep. And, right. I would have an Aggie joke for you, but there's only 2 Aggie jokes, sadly, because everything else that you throw out there is actually true about the Aggies.
Yeah. By the way, I have Katie and I have a restaurant recommendation for you.
Okay.
Old West. Go eat breakfast at Old West.
Okay. All right.
You will
All right.
not go wrong.
Okay.
And
All right.
if Mrs. MC enjoys coffee, dude, you're in for a treat.
Awesome.
So, all right. 11 a.m. SEC Network, Saturday. For Marcus MC Carlton and Parts Unknown, I'm Razorback Zach from Central Arkansas. You have been watching an all-new episode of Inside the Hog Pen. Until next time, same hog time, same hog channel. We will see you next week. So long, everybody.